Hey guys, today I'm gonna do kind of a get ready. I already have on a little bit of a tinted moisturizer and some mascara and eyebrows. This is my everyday 5-10 minute look, but I'm gonna pile on some more makeup to get more ready because makeup I do for YouTube is not the same as real life. Just play with some eyeshadows and some new stuff that I got. I got a bunch of new viral makeup. I went a little bit crazy on buying viral makeup because I didn't buy makeup for like a year and a half. I plan on going on a very low buy, just necessities only, for 2024. And since I have done a semi-successful job at doing a low buy, I wanted to share with you guys things that I learned, how I'm preparing for this one, and a little bit of my experience on how a low buy went, and mainly what I learned, because that's really going to help me gear up for this next low buy year. I feel like I'm not making any sense. Let's just get started. I'm gonna just use all these new viral products that I tried. I had to get rid of a bunch of makeup because all of my old makeup was old and expired, and some of it was just bad already. Because a lot of it I had for years, like over 4 or 5 years. I'm gonna start with this and try to do my hair with this Tymo. I also learned about this from TikTok. I probably need to stay off TikTok now. So I do plan on having quite a bit of like low buy, no buy content, because honestly, I asked in my last video if you guys were interested, and you guys seem very interested. I got a lot of positive feedback about that. You guys seem to be very interested, which I'm very thankful for, because that's definitely the journey that I'm on. And sometimes I don't know if that's okay here in the perfume world, since we do a lot of hyping around here, and that doesn't exclude me, because I talk about the things that I'm loving, obsessed with, and I'm sure that that hypes things up too, like I'm part of the problem. So I'm not excluded from that. I don't think I see a lot of perfume anti-hauls or perfume low buys. So that's what I'm gonna try to do, because that's what I'm doing in my personal life. So as I told you guys before, I'm just sharing my journey here. I'm not here to do a job. I'm not here to sell you anything. I can't tell you what you want to hear. I'm sorry. I can only tell you what I'm doing. And I'm very glad though to know that a lot of people, we seem to be on the same boat about trying to reduce the amount of fragrances that we have and are bringing in to our collections. So let me tell you guys how I would suggest preparing for a 2024 no buy or low buy. I'm gonna do a low buy because I plan on purchasing a total of about 5 perfumes. But I will get more into that at the beginning of the year. Right now I'm going to tell you guys what I learned and what I recommend that you learn if you want to do a no buy or low buy year. Alright, so one thing I know is that simply not buying things or telling yourself that you're not going to buy something doesn't usually work. And it doesn't work because you haven't fixed anything, you're just deprived. I apologize in advance if I compare some of our shopping habits, or some of my shopping habits, if I compare them to addictions, because from my perspective, they have kind of been like addictions, and I've had to almost address it in a similar way. And I know that that might be offensive, maybe to some people, maybe to people that have like life-crippling addictions. I think in our brain, using things as coping mechanisms and looking for the dopamine, I think some of those things might be similar than an addict. So that's why I'm going to compare it. So I really did want to make that disclaimer, is that I don't mean any offense, and I definitely don't mean to diminish more crippling addictions, you know? That's not my intention, but I will be just talking about it similarly to an addiction. So anyways, as I was saying, I don't know if you ever heard of a dry alcoholic, but it's a person who still has all of the same bad habits. They're just momentarily not having alcohol, but all of the reasons and all of the problems are still there. They're just not currently drinking. And the moment that you put yourself back in a situation, you know, if you haven't addressed the problem, you're still gonna just go back to the same bad habits. And that's what happens when you have a no buy, low buy period, and all you do is deprive yourself and you don't actually make any changes to your behaviors. You just avoid the problem. You know, I should probably have a mirror for this. Just not buying is it's not addressing the problem, and I don't think that that works. That didn't work for me because I had attempted low buys, no buys for years before I was able to pull off as long of a period as I was able to pull off this last time. And I would always be really like excited to do it for a couple weeks, for a couple months tops. I think I went like 3 months one time, and that was it. I would never be able to last very long because, at least for me, for my brain, something about feeling deprived just makes me want it more. Like I literally, it makes me more obsessive about it. It makes me think about it. It just, that feeling of feeling deprived just keeps the thing I want and a thing that I'm trying to avoid, it keeps it more at the forefront of my mind. So for me, that doesn't get rid of the obsession and the thinking, and it just gives me more temptation. I learned a lot from my no buy year, but I want to say I also learned a lot from the time that came after, from observing some of the behaviors that I had and making smarter purchases and things like that. I was able to fully address some of these things, you know. Too bad I can't see what I'm doing. I wish I would have better prepared. Like I said, I don't know if if I have the right hair texture for this. Maybe this is for curly hair girls. How does it look? I can't see crap. Actually, I liked it. I'm gonna use it next time when I can see what I'm doing. And I think it took me like a minute or two. My hair looks a lot better. I like it. Definitely gonna try that again the right way. Okay, so things that I suggest. Okay, I'm actually gonna get into it this time. It depends how deep you guys want to go, but like I can go really, really deep with this fragrance buying, fragrance addiction that some of us have. It can get deep and maybe slightly uncomfortable. I mean, it can get to a level where it's slightly uncomfortable. So as you guys know, purchasing, buying something, adding it to your cart, or finding it in the store, it gives us dopamine. So our brain loves dopamine. We love dopamine. Who doesn't love dopamine? Dopamine is the chemical that releases in your brain. Our brains can be very addicted to dopamine and use dopamine, seeking dopamine as a coping mechanism, right? We want that hit of dopamine. We want that feel good. One thing to note, I believe I read somewhere that the rush and the little shopper's high of dopamine that we get when we find a product at a store that we love, or when we purchase a product, it is the best and the highest, like it's at its peak when we first find the item, when we first purchase the item, and then from there it only starts to decline. If you buy something online, you get that peak and that high when it gets to you as well. So you get it when you purchase it, and then you get another little hit of dopamine when the item arrives and you unbox it, you know. So it's a little bit more spread out when you shop online, and even when you get home, because I also get that when I get home, you know, when you get home and you get to unbag your stuff and you get to show it to somebody, and it's so exciting, and you add it to your little collection, or you unbox it in your little YouTube channel, and then you share it with people, and then you add it to your collection, and then like the high's kind of over, right? By the time it joins your collection, it's over. So if you keep in mind that that's how your little brain works, that's how most of our brains work, it kind of takes away from the power that it can have over you. If you take away the impulsivity of shopping and you take that dopamine, mostly take it away, your brain is going to, as far as my experience, it's going to rewire to not do things that way, to not want that or crave that thing. So one thing I did is I did not allow myself any impulse shopping at all. During my low buy year, I didn't allow any impulse shopping, and I would tell myself that I could buy it later if I still wanted it or things like that, and I would remove the impulsivity from it, and that I found helped a lot. Even with the purchases that I do afterwards, I have kept that. I have tried to remove the impulsiveness from it. So that's one thing that I really recommend, is to not go along with that dopamine high from it. I don't think this video is gonna make sense, and I don't think I'm gonna post it, to be honest. Kind of want to just stop recording and give up, because I don't know if this is making sense. Sometimes I fix it in editing and I make it make sense, but I don't speak that cohesively, guys. So my point is that by removing the impulsivity from it, you rewire yourself out of being a dopamine fiend and addict. Sounds bad, I'm sorry. So that would mean, like I said, adding something to your cart, finding something, and then not following through with the purchase. If you were to get to the level of like, oh my gosh, I really want this, and you get that exciting. This has happened to me, and I've done this, and I still do this till this day. I'll walk around with the item in my cart, and before I get to the cash register, when I get to the line that I'm gonna get to the cash register, I go through everything again, and I actually try to find a reason not to buy the item. And as crazy as it is, that little high of finding it, like this perfume that I had my eye on, or this thing that I saw on TikTok, or I saw a YouTuber that I like talking about it, I get excited to find it, and then at the end of my trip, my shopping trip, I will find a reason not to want it. Like, I'll ask myself, do I already have a similar color? Do I need this? And I leave a lot of stuff, but I feel like I already got the little rush from it, you know? And I don't go seek that out, but I'm saying if it happens to me, this is how I stop it, is I put it in my cart and then I take it out. And I've also found myself to do that with online shopping. I put stuff in my cart, find a good coupon code and everything, and then I tell myself, if I still want this, I will come back to this website and purchase it tomorrow or next week or at a later time. And that's just if it gets to that far into a almost purchase. So I remove the impulsivity from it. I remove the pulling the trigger. I don't pull the trigger on the purchase, and I'm usually like okay with that. That's one of the things that works for me. The number two, you guys are really not gonna like. It is addressing what's behind the seeking of these new things. What's behind us using shopping as a coping mechanism. Like, what we're actually searching for. Is it status? Is it, what do having these items say about me? Am I trying to achieve status? Or am I shopping impulsively as I'm opening a new palette that I bought? Or am I shopping impulsively because I had a bad day, or because something bad happened and this is a coping mechanism? This is a little pick-me-up that I feel like I need. Because I use shopping as a coping mechanism for sure in the past. Like, I've definitely used that to make myself feel better. So in order to really get to the bottom of the reasons why you're buying things, why we're overbuying things, you would have to start to notice and address the feelings that arise that lead you to purchasing. So those negative feelings that leads to emotional purchases, you'll have to start paying attention. Like, what am I trying to avoid by going to the store right now? Or what am I trying to avoid by online shopping right now? Like, what feelings am I putting away? What am I not dealing with? What am I not addressing? I would start a journal. If I could go back, I would have just started journaling what feelings are arising, what feelings I'm uncomfortable with at the moment, what I'm stressed about. And I would start to write these things down and really question, why do I want to go make purchases right now? Like, what am I avoiding? If you happen to be an emotional shopper. And the item that you're trying to buy, I would literally list that, like, what I didn't buy, the reasons why I wanted to buy something, and what I didn't buy. I'm gonna keep personally a list of things I didn't buy. And sometimes I wanted to make videos and I didn't even know people would be interested of what I didn't buy. Like, last week, I didn't buy 3 Bath & Body Works mists that I was in Bath & Body Works. I had 3 mists that I wanted. It was the Hot Cocoa, Luminous, and Christmas Morning. Out of all the things I smelled, like, I like those. I really like those. I think that I can see myself using them. But do I need them? Do I need more things? No. So I was about to get all those things, and then I was like, no, I'm putting these things back because I don't need them. But I was kind of proud of myself for walking away from it. that's kind of what I want to make videos about, is things that I didn't buy, things that I almost bought but then I didn't follow through, because I want to share my thought process of why I thought I wanted it, and then my thought process of why I ended up not getting it though, even though I thought I wanted it, you know? So let me know if you guys want to see those videos. But I definitely go through that, where I think I want something and then I end up leaving it behind. So if you really want to heal the problems that you have with buying too many things, I would definitely suggest keeping a journal and digging a little bit deeper than just depriving yourself of purchasing things, but really get down to the root of the problem, because really that's the only way that it's going to get actually fixed and addressed. Otherwise, you're basically just going to be a deprived shopaholic. That's my opinion though. Don't take my opinion for fact. I'm telling you this from my own personal experience. We're not all built the same. I'm weak when it comes to purchasing. I have a problem, so that's why I'm here sharing. So I believe that if you keep a journal, and if you journal, you know, the things, the triggers that arose, I feel like eventually you're going to start to see a pattern of what's triggering and what things you're actually dealing with that probably need to be addressed. And these things can be addressed in therapy by talking to someone. You could talk to me. You can send me a message on Instagram if you'd like. I'll respond eventually. You could talk to other people, but we can definitely be there for each other, because when it comes to shopping, I know there can be some stigma where it feels like, I think people don't see the guilt that comes with shopping or things like that, because shopping is a luxury. When you have an addiction to shopping, and it doesn't look like an addiction from the outside, because people just see it as a luxury, and most people do shop in a healthier way. Some of us overdo it. So I would highly suggest keeping a journal. This is going to be your no buy, low buy, what I didn't buy journal. And you don't have to, but I'm just saying I would, and I plan on doing it. So I would also suggest avoiding trigger situations, trigger stores, because we all have our favorite stores. You know, there's like 2 or 3 that just, you can never walk out of those stores without buying anything, like Target, Marshalls, Ross. Those are trigger stores for me. Like, I've never walked into those stores and not bought anything. I can walk into many different stores and not feel the need to buy something. I could go with somebody and I won't feel the need, because it's not like my store. Hobby Lobby is not one of my trigger stores, so I can go in there and walk out with nothing. I go in there all the time with other people, and I never feel the need to purchase anything because it's not my thing currently. But my trigger stores are a whole nother story. So you'll definitely have to avoid your personal trigger stores, and you'll have to avoid the people that you're influenced by, the influencers that influence you the most, the ones that you love, and the ones that have the most power over you. You know who they are. You know who they are. We all have our favorites, and like, we just take their word, and their taste is just very important to us, and we really value their opinion, so we take their recommendations to heart, like genuinely take them to heart, because we love and respect our favorite influencers. Some of the people that I had to unsubscribe from when I was going through my beauty no buy, it was my favorites. It was Kathleen Lights. I love Kathleen Lights. She's adorable, she's cute, she's fun, but she definitely could get me to buy stuff. And as much as I wanted to be supportive of her and support her things, I had got her nail polish in the past, I got her makeup, some of her makeup collaborations, but things like that, like, she can get me to buy stuff because she's cute, she had nice products, and I really, really like her. I love her personality. She was my favorite, but I unfollowed her for some time. I just recently started following her again, but I had to unfollow her, and that's okay. If you need to unfollow me because I'm that person to you, you do you. I don't think that I'm that much of an influencer. I don't think I'm an influencer at all. I don't identify as one. I'm just a person sharing my experience with you guys. But whatever you need to do to accomplish your goals, you do that. You do that. So like I said, you know your triggers, only you know your triggers, so you could start to write these down and start to set yourself up for success by avoiding your triggers. Another thing is our habits, you know, that ties into that. We have really bad habits when it comes to purchasing things. So it would be literally to change up your habits. I would highly recommend the book Atomic Habits. Not because you have to do everything the way he says, but I really liked just understanding how habits, after saying habits so many times, starts to sound like Hobbit, and it's kind of weird. Okay, Atomic Habits really helped me to like understand how our brain works when it comes to those, and kind of how to catch yourself a little bit. I didn't do all of their whole process, but there's other things, there's probably quite a bit of things you can learn from that. But for me, I really like just being aware of certain things really helps me. Like it's like a baby step to become aware. It's not even like, oh, I'm not ready to change, but just that awareness for me, it already helps me by a lot to be aware, because only by being aware can you even start to take steps to make changes. And you can decide if you want to take those steps, but at least now you're aware. You know what I mean? Like next time you go to the store, be aware of the little high that you get from finding an item, and just challenge yourself. See if you can actually, at the end of your shopping trip, put that item back, just to challenge yourself. So the next thing that I think that really helped is to replace the habits with something else. For me, I'm a creative person. We're all creative. We're literally creative human beings. Even if we haven't found the thing, like our thing, we're still creative. So I would find other things to be creative in, even if it is still perfume. Like if you've been thinking about starting a perfume channel, start a perfume channel and challenge yourself to just talk about the things that you have and love. Or start a perfume channel of just you decluttering your collection and document, or an Instagram or whatever, document your decluttering journey. Having YouTube as a creative outlet has been nice. I actually started my perfume channel right when I was starting my beauty no buy, but I also do a bunch of other creative things. You know, there's so many other creative things you can do, and even potentially make some money with your creative outlets. I'm not saying you should do any of them, the ones I'm doing. I'm just saying that's what I'm doing, and I found those interesting. So when looking for creative outlets, be careful not to go find any that are expensive or anything that costs too much money, because I've made that mistake as well. I don't know if this video makes any sense, but these are some things that I would just start thinking about now. Maybe do some research, read some books about it, just to prepare yourself, because there's gonna be moments of weakness. I would recommend that you be prepared for the moments of weakness, either by understanding yourself, by having someone to talk to, or journal through it. I know these things sound cheesy, like, oh, journaling because I wanted to buy something, but I swear it helps. I swear it helps. Don't feel silly, you know? Because you know what's more silly? Buying shit you don't need. Working your ass off for money and then blowing it. That's silly too. You probably won't even be able to see anything. But this is freaking gorgeous. In person. So pretty. Like I said before, I'm not good at get ready with me's. What? I think I just stop talking when I'm getting ready, and then I like don't really finish it, and I don't really get anywhere until the end. So anyways, I'm gonna see if I can make this video make any sense, but those are some tips, some things I would recommend for you to do. Let me know if you guys have more tips, because I do plan on making way more content and a little bit more specific. I kind of plan on getting into each of these things individually, and then talking about like real ways of stopping buying things. What? And then I plan on talking about like how I implement these things. You know, hopefully those videos will make more sense. But thank you guys so much for watching today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being so welcoming to some of the changes on my channel, and for just being kind and reciprocating some of the things that I'm sharing. I love to hear feedback. I love to hear people that relate. I just, those kind of things and comments when people say like they relate or they're on the same journey, they feel so empowering to me, because I feel like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one. I know it's really dumb. I know none of us are out here doing anything alone, but I can tend to feel that way. And sometimes it feels like, oh, everybody else knows how to do these things, but just not me. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I shop more consciously? Why can't I make better decisions? But when I hear other people that have similar struggles, it makes me feel better, and it makes me feel empowered to do better as well. So thank you guys so much for your feedback, for talking to me, for all of the constructive criticism and comments that you guys leave. I love that. Thank you guys so much. You guys don't even know how some of you make my day. When somebody talks about my sense of humor, that makes my day, because I'm not even trying to be funny. I feel like I'm just a little bit ridiculous, and you guys think I'm funny, and that is a top tier compliment in my opinion. Anyways, you guys have a really good day. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye. Why? First of all, why is this in here? Should probably do the underline. Underline? Under eye? Under eye. Did not think that through. Why is that in there?